In the beginning of the drama, we saw a girl named Shin who is a very naughty and tomboy type girl. But at the same time, she is very smart in studies and sports too. Because of her strong image and angry nature, even the boys in school stay scared of her. Shin has a best friend named Hang. He is completely weak in studies and always keeps fighting and arguing with Shin. But because of Hang, the other students also treat Shin like their buddy. Nobody treats her like a normal girl. Playing games with her and fighting with her had already become a part of their friendship. But deep inside, Shin is completely different. Even though she acts strong in front of everyone, secretly she admires the school beauty queen Yuji a lot. Shin wants to become soft, innocent, and beautiful like Yuji. Sometimes she even secretly copies Yuji's behavior. But she knows very well that she can never become like her. On the other hand, Yuji is the prettiest girl in the whole school. She studies literature and secretly loves Shin's brother Jian. She quietly keeps looking at Jian from far away and even stares at his bicycle. One day, while touching Jian's bicycle, Yuji suddenly hears someone's voice and gets shocked. Because of that, not only Jian's bicycle, but all the bicycles standing there fall down one after another. Now Jian is the most handsome boy in school, but he has no idea at all about Yuji's feeling. Instead, after seeing the bicycles fall down, he rudely talks to Yuji and tells her to pick up all the bicycles herself. Shin does not like his behavior and tells him not to talk to Yuji like that. She even tries to help Yuji, but Jian ignores her words and takes Shin home with him. Anyway, the bicycles fell because of Yuji's own mistake, so she does not feel bad about Jian's rude word. After that, Shin asks Jian for permission to join the physics competition because she needs his signature on the form. But Jian refuses to let her participate this year. He does not even tell her the reason behind it. Because of this, Shin becomes angry with her brother. But Shin already finds another way. She goes to her best friend Hang and promises to show him a movie. Then she makes him do Jian's fake signature on the form. After getting the fake signature, Shin becomes super happy because at least now she can join the physics competition. Meanwhile at night, Yuji keeps thinking about Jian. She secretly keeps Jian's photo with herself and looks at it every day. Suddenly she notices a falling star in the sky and wishes to get closer to Jian. At the same time on the other side, Shin wishes to become free from Jian's control forever. The moment both girls make their wishes, the falling star suddenly breaks into two pieces and falls near their houses. Bright light spreads everywhere. Then next morning, when both girls wake up, they feel something very strange after seeing their surrounding. That is because their souls had exchanged bodies with each other. Now Yuji's soul was inside Shin's body, and Shin's soul was inside Yuji's body. But for easy understanding, we will call them according to their original souls. Right now, both girls think all of this is just a dream. After getting Yuji's body, Shin becomes extremely happy. She feels like a real princess. She starts trying Yuji's dresses one after another. After all, Shin always wanted to become like a beauty queen. On top of that, Yuji's parents serve her a huge breakfast, and Shin eats everything happily. Her strange behavior shocks Yuji's parents because their daughter never eats this much food together. On the other hand, Yuji gets only a simple breakfast, but she is still happy because now she is staying in Jian's house. Jian himself makes breakfast for her and even takes her to school on his bicycle. But here Jian still thinks Yuji is actually Shin, so her soft behavior feels very strange to him. Because Shin never sits quietly on the bicycle like a girl, and she is never this calm and shy either. Jian ignores. Shin was very happy and starts greeting everyone. She was going to boys and asks if they liked her. All boys liked Yuji, but they were very shocked about her behavior because Yuji was not like that and she was an introvert. But Shin was feeling like a dream. So when teacher takes her to speech competition, she thinking it dream speaks whatever cones in her mouth. Yuji's mom was also very angry. She thought Yuji would win first position in the speech competition just like every year. But instead, she kept saying random things without stopping. Nobody knew that Shin's soul was inside Yuji's body, and she had no idea how speeches work. Meanwhile on the stage, Shin suddenly notices Yuji sitting in the audience. Right now Yuji's soul was inside Shin's body. Both girls become completely shocked after seeing their own bodies standing in front of them. After that, Yuji walks towards Shin after coming down from the stage. But suddenly she gets stuck in her shoelaces and crashes into Shin. Because of that, both girls get hurt at the same time. The moment they see blood and feel pain, they finally realize this is not a dream anymore. Now they fully understand that their souls are trapped inside each other's body, but by the time they realize the truth, it is already too late. Thinking everything was a dream, Shin had already ruined Yuji's speech competition badly and insulted the teachers and principal too. Because of this, Yuji's teacher Lena becomes extremely angry. She cannot understand how Yuji suddenly became so arrogant. According to her, Yuji was always calm, innocent, and the best student in speech competitions, so this behavior completely shocks her. But Shin obviously cannot tell the truth about the soul swap, so she lies and says her parents are putting too much pressure on her studies. That is why she ruined the speech competition intentionally in anger. After hearing this, teacher Lena starts sympathizing with her, but outside the room, Yuji's mom secretly hears everything. She becomes even more angry after listening to Shin's words, but at that moment she stays quiet and says nothing. On the other hand, Yuji was also extremely worried after learning the truth. Till now she also believed everything was just a dream. On top of that, her best friend Shin was ignoring her because she still thought Yuji was actually Shin. Meanwhile, Jian thinks his sister Shin is angry at him. That is because Yuji, who is inside Shin's body, was acting strangely around him. But Yuji also could not tell him that her body had exchanged with his sister's body. Becoming Ji, her crush Jian's sister, was making everything even more awkward for her. At the same time, Yao tries comforting her while thinking she is still her best friend Yuji. But she no longer feels the same friendship vibe from her anymore because outside she looked like Yuji, but inside she was actually Shin. Later, Yuji's father, Mr. Wu, comes to pick her up from school. He comforts her and says one mistake in the speech competition is not a big deal because Yuji wins every year anyway. Hearing his words, Shin starts thinking Yuji's mother must also be very understanding. But the moment they reach home, Yuji's mom starts shouting angrily. She says Yuji embarrassed them in front of everyone during the speech competition. On top of that, she even told teacher Lena that her parents torture her because of studies. Things become even worse because Shin keeps answering back while defending herself. Usually Yuji never behaves like this, so her parents become completely shocked. Still, Yuji's father somehow calms the situation and sends Shin to her room. Now Shin could not tell anyone about the soul swap, and that frustration was slowly increasing inside her. On the other hand, Jian tries to calm Shin down by making her favorite snail noodles for her. Even though Jian hates the smell of those noodles himself, he still cooks them because his sister Shin loved them. But now Yuji was inside Shin's body, and the smell alone was making her feel sick. Still, for Jian's sake, she tries eating them, but suddenly throws up and leaves for her room. After seeing this, Jian thinks his sister is still angry because he stopped her from joining the physics competition. Meanwhile, both Shin and Yuji believe that after sleeping they will wake up in their original body. But even after the next morning, nothing changes. Their souls were still trapped inside each other's bodies. Still, one thing was good for Yuji. Now she was living in the same house as her crush Jian. He cooked food for her, cared for her, and even cleaned her face whenever food got stuck on it, even though he still believed she was his sister Shin. But slowly Shin was getting tired of living inside Yuji's body. Earlier she enjoyed everything, but now it was becoming frustrating. On top of that, she now had to study Yuji's literature subjects, which felt extremely boring to her because she only liked physics. Shin was going to Yuji's class to meet her, and in between she was trying to act like Yuji. Yuji was running away from Shin. Somehow Shin stops her and takes her to the school garden to talk alone. There she explains everything to her. She tells her that their souls have been swapped. Yuji is not the only one stuck in this problem. Both of them must solve it together and return to their original body. She also warns her that they must keep this secret from everyone. If anyone finds out, scientists might take them as test subjects and do experiments on their bodies. Hearing this, Yuji agrees, but Yuji makes some rules. Until their souls return, both of them must live their lives carefully. They should not disturb their families, should not create problems, and must study properly so they don't ruin each other's future. Shin agrees to these rules and also asks Yuji not to tell Jian about this situation. Anyway, she already does not get along with her brother Jian, but now Yuji is behaving very lovingly with Jian, so Shin worries that Jian might get suspicious because of this sudden change. Meanwhile, Yuji has no time to think about anything else because she is stuck in the physics exam. And she knows nothing about physics. She does not even have anyone to copy from. And exactly what she feared happened. Yuji gets very low marks in the physics exam, the lowest in the class. This shocks the physics teacher Mr. How because Yuji was always a top student. He cannot understand how she became so weak in one day. He even thinks maybe her friendship with Hang is affecting her studies. So he advises Yuji to stay away from Hang. But Hang thinks Yuji intentionally got low marks to protect her reputation and help him not look like the worst student. On the other hand, physics teacher Mr. Dang is stuck in his strange alien costume from the science project. Jian helps him remove it and frees him. Mr. Dang gives Jian a form for the planetarium volunteer program. There will also be an exam, and passing it will help Jian get college admission advantage. Mr. Dang knows Jian loves astronomy, but he is confused why Jian did not apply for Nanjing University, which is perfect for astronomy study. But Jian has different plans. He wants to go to Beijing, so he applies there instead. Later in the library, Jian and Shin start arguing over a book. Both want the same book. Jian picks it first and does not give it to her. He still thinks she is his sister, so he behaves normally. Shin almost reacts like her old self, but she quickly controls it because Jian might get suspicious. Meanwhile, Jian's friend Yuan teases him seeing him with Yuji. He says the school beauty queen is talking to him, so he should have given her the book. But Jian is not interested in any girl's beauty, and he has no feelings for Yuji. Later, Mr. Hao talks to Jian about Shin's low physics marks. He notices she seems very different and quiet these days. He requests Jian to encourage her to join the physics competition so she can improve her mood and studies. Jian agrees and later gives Shin a chocolate at dinner. This is something he used to give only to his sister since childhood. But in reality, Yuji is inside Shin's body, and she feels very happy receiving chocolate from Jian. Then it is revealed that Shin is not Jian's real sister. She is actually adopted. When Jian was young, his parents went to an orphan area to distribute toys and food. There he met Shin, who gave him the same chocolate and became his friend. Their bond became so strong that Jian's parents adopted Shin. Since then, she has been living with them like a daughter. But Jian has always had a soft corner for Shin since childhood, something more than normal sibling love. Next day, Jian prepares breakfast for Shin. Even though it is not Yuji's favorite food, she still eats it because it is Jian's love. Jian then asks her to go to school alone because he has some work. When Jian goes into Shin's room to take a recorder, he finds a note written by her. The meaning of that note worries him a little. At the school gate, Yuji gets surrounded by some girls. They think she is Shin and blame her for keeping Jian away from them and not delivering their love letter. The girls thought Shin would argue or fight back, but this time, Yuji's soul inside Shin's body was very soft and innocent. She did not know how to fight at all. So before they could say anything more, she suddenly apologizes to her. After getting an apology, they also leaves from there. Hank hears everything that happened between them. He is shocked because Shin just surrendered without fighting and even said sorry. Yuji explains that she just wants to stay friendly with everyone in school. But Hank still feels this apology was not normal. Meanwhile, a girl named Lily had just won the speech competition, but she was not happy at all. Other students said if Yuji had taken the competition seriously, Lily would not have won. Because of this, Lily meets Yuji and gets angry at her. Shin just laughs at Lily and walks away. Lily cannot even respond. On the other side, Jian gives his notes to a friend, but accidentally brings Shin's personal diary. There he reads a line, "He is so nice to me." Jian becomes suspicious, thinking Shin might like someone. But in reality, that line was written by Yuji for Jian. In history class, teacher Lena asks Yuji to explain Newton's invention. Shin has no idea about history, but as a physics student, she explains Newton's laws instead. Her answer is actually correct, so the teacher cannot mark it wrong. Later, Shin and Yuji meet and write down rules for each other. They plan how to behave in front of family and friends. During this, they both realize that the soul swap happened because of the falling star, and they understand only another shooting star can switch them back. Now both start wishing every day to see a shooting star again. Otherwise, their studies and life will get destroyed. Shin is an art student. Yuji is a science student, and now everything is mixed. After school, a boy named Ming arrives with his gang and challenges Shin, Yuji's body, for a fight again. They already fought many times before, and Shin always won. But this time, Ming openly challenges her. Yuji's soul inside Shin's body gets scared because she is not strong like Shin. Even then, Hang supports her, so she has to go with him. At the same time, real Shin hears about this fight and rushes to help. She takes Hang's bicycle and follows them. Yuji's best friend also follows behind them. Later, it is revealed that the fight is not about violence, but a basketball match. Ming wants to defeat Shin in basketball this time. Shin used to always beat him and even insult him before, but now Yuji inside Shin's body is too weak and soft. She cannot even catch the ball properly and injures her nose. At that moment, Jian arrives and gets very angry at Ming for hurting Shin. Ming also gets shocked because Shin is not defending herself like before. Jian takes Shin away and warns Ming to stay away from her. At that time, Yuji also comes there. Jian tries to act soft in front of her because he likes her, but Yuji inside Shin's body gets angry at him for hurting Shin and tells him to stay away. Ming becomes confused because Yuji never used to behave like this. This feels more like Shin's attitude. At night, Hang tells his mother everything about Shin getting hurt. His mother gets angry and says she wants Shin as her future daughter-in-law, so Hang should not let her get hurt and fight. She gives him money and asks him to take medicine to Shin. Later, Jian is applying medicine on Shin's injured nose. Yuji inside Shin feels very happy because Jian is taking care of her. Jian asks her when she became friends with Yuji. To look good, she praises herself, and Jian feels happy that Shin finally has a female friend. But Jian clearly says he has no interest in Yuji, even if she is the school beauty queen. He also warns her not to meet Ming again. At that moment, Hang calls Yuji outside. She goes out and meets him, and he gives her medicine. Jian sees them talking and becomes a little jealous. He throws trash in the dustbin so hard that Hang gets scared. Hang quickly says bye to Yuji and leaves from there. Yuji also quietly goes inside the house, feeling tense after seeing Jian's reaction. Meanwhile, Shin, inside Yuji's body, is trying to build a good relationship with Yuji's mom. She is taking care of her and behaving very politely. Yuji, who is actually an introvert girl, normally stays away from her family. So Yuji's mom starts liking this new Yuji behavior a lot. She still does not know about the soul swap, but she feels happy that her daughter is changing. During this time, Yuji's mom gives Shin some gifts. These were the same gifts she planned to give after Yuji won the speech competition. Even though Yuji lost, she still gives them. Shin becomes very happy after receiving them. At night, she even wears the necklace and feels excited like a child. Later, Jian asks Shin about teenage love. He feels she might be liking someone. Real Shin's opinion is different, but Yuji inside Shin's body thinks teenage love is a sweet and normal feeling. But she cannot express her real feelings because she is in her crush's sister's body. So she indirectly asks Jian about his opinion. But Jian avoids the topic and tells her to stay away from love until high school ends. He also strictly warns her to stay away from Ming. But next day, Ming comes to Shin's house. He feels guilty for hurting her during the basketball fight. He also finds out that Shin and Yuji are friends. So he apologizes and gives her lots of snacks. Then he leaves. Jian sees this from a distance. He pretends like he does not care, but he notices everything carefully. Yuji tells Jian a lie that Hang gave her those snacks. She even gives him a milk bottle, but Jian refuses it. Later in class, Yuji shares those snacks with Hang and his friend. Hang thinks Yuji brought them for him because he gave her medicine yesterday. Yuji also agrees to his misunderstanding, but because of those snacks, Hang gets scolded badly by the teacher for eating in class. After school, Yuji and Hang are walking around. Yuji's best friend invites her to have lunch together in the cafeteria. Shin is happy and agrees, even though she was being slightly stopped by signals from Yuji's friend. Hang also wants to join lunch, but Jian takes him away. Jian tells Hang that the snacks he enjoyed were not from her friend. They were actually given by Ming earlier that morning. He also says that maybe Ming and Shin are dating. Hearing this, Hang feels heartbroken because his mother dreams of marrying him to Shin. But Jian tells Hang to keep an eye on Shin and protect her from boys. Hang immediately agrees. Meanwhile, during lunch, Yuji's friend tries to indirectly talk about Jian, but Yuji feels very uncomfortable because Shin does not know Yuji loves Jian, so she keeps changing topics and avoids the conversation. When Yuji returns to class, Hang again warns her about staying away from Ming, but Yuji does not listen properly. Instead, she even praises Ming, which shocks Hang deeply. On the other side, Ming enters the school again wearing a student uniform he stole. He comes to meet Shin and promises he will never fight with her again. He also reminds her of their childhood memory. He wants to stay in her good books. But this time Yuji's body has Shin's soul, so she does not understand their past relationship clearly. At that moment, Jian arrives and tells Ming to leave the school immediately. He also warns him to stay away from his sister Shin. Since Jian is a student leader, Ming has to leave. But before going, Ming threatens that next time he will come with his gang. After Ming leaves, Jian again warns Shin to stay away from him. Shin thinks Jian is being protective because he likes her, so she feels confused. To clear this confusion, Shin goes to meet Yuji. At the same time, Hang is also advising Yuji to stay away from boys because of Jian's warning. But Shin gets angry and hits Hang's head, not wanting him to interfere in her life anymore. Hang started taking his brother Jian's side because he and Jian never really got along. Then he takes Yuji outside to talk alone. He tells her everything that has been happening. He is confused why Ming is acting so friendly and why Jian is so worried about Yuji. Yuji then explains everything calmly. She says Ming and she were childhood friends. They used to be neighbors, but later moved away. Still, Ming keeps friendship with her, so there is no need to worry. Yuji also says Ming is not a bad person. He just looks scary from outside because of his mafia-type image. And Jian is actually very caring towards Shin. Yesterday, Jian even asked her opinion about love and told her to stay away from boys so her studies don't get disturbed. He is probably just worried that Shin and Ming might be dating. Hearing this, Shin gets shocked. When she was in her real body, Jian always used to fight with her. But now, without her soul in her body, he is suddenly so caring. Still, Shin ignores this and asks Yuji to tell Ming to stay away from her. She wants to maintain her tomboy image and does not want people to think she and Ming are a couple. Meanwhile, Jian goes to the playground to store equipment in the coach's room. At that time, Yuji's friend Yao locks him inside the equipment room so Jian and Yuji can talk alone and get closer. But here, Yuji's body has Shin inside it, and she does not want to stay with Jian even for a minute. Jian talks to her very kindly, thinking she is Yuji. Yao locked them together, but Jian does not get angry. Instead, he thanks her because Yuji has no female friends to share personal things with. Jian also says their parents are busy with work, so Shin has become very controlling. If Shin ever gets angry, Yuji should not take it personally or break their friendship. Hearing this, Shin feels a little guilty. She never realized Jian actually cares about her so much. She always used to fight with him over small things. On the other side, Yuji meets Ming at the school gate. She does not want Jian to see them together, so she takes Ming to a coffee shop. But Hang sees them and immediately tells Jian everything. He even forces Yao to open the door so Jian and Yuji can come out. After that, everyone reaches the same coffee shop where Shin is talking to Ming. She requests Ming to stay away so Jian does not feel bad, and her tomboy image also stays safe. Jian sees them together, but does not react strongly. Instead, he invites everyone to drink coffee together. Then Shin orders extra sugar and cream in her tea. Jian gets shocked because only his sister Shin used to drink tea like this. But now Yuji is ordering the same combination. Still, he does not think much about it. Next day, the school announces monthly exam. Arts and science students will take exams together. This becomes a big problem for Yuji and Shin. Arts teacher Lena and Yuji's mother have very high expectations from Yuji. They expect her to top the exam, but Shin has no idea about arts subject. Shin also tells her that Yuji always tops exams, so now Shin is stressed about how she will handle art studies. On the other side, Yuji is also worried because she knows nothing about science. Hang expects her to copy from him during exams, but Yuji refuses. She tells him to study on his own because exam seating will be different. Even after explaining to Hang, Yuji is still stressed, so she goes to meet Shin. Both of them talk about how to handle exam. They realize both are weak in each other's subject. They also realize there will be no shooting star for a long time, so soul swap cannot happen soon. Now they must give exams in each other's bodies. During the conversation, Shin gets an idea. Jian has a soul swap book. Maybe that book can help them find another way to return to their original bodies. If the book works, they might finally go back to their real lives. Jian was now very angry. He saw Shin and Yuji talking outside the class during study time. He felt they were wasting time. Shin argued back, saying they are not children and he should not interfere in their friendship. Jian felt shocked because Shin never used to talk like this. This tone and behavior reminded him of his sister Shin. At night, Shin secretly calls Yuji and asks her to steal the soul swap book from Jian's room quickly. But Yuji does not have the courage to steal from Jian's room, especially because she likes him. So Shin makes another plan. She tells Yuji to somehow send Jian out of the house the next day, and then she will come and steal the book herself. If everything goes well, they might return to their original bodies very soon. Next day, Yuji sends Jian to the library, saying he should study for his entrance exam. As soon as he leaves, Shin enters the house. Both girls start searching for the soul swap book, but they cannot find it on any shelf because Yuji had already hidden the book inside the kitchen cabinet before Shin arrived. Maybe Yuji does not want to go back. Maybe she secretly wants to stay in Shin's body to be close to Jian. Shin does not give up. She starts checking all books in Jian's room, hoping to find something about soul swapping. But before they can finish, Jian suddenly returns home and sees them in his room. He gets shocked. Yuji quickly lies and says she was just showing Shin the house. At that moment, Shin's parents also arrive home. Shin becomes emotional after seeing them after a long time, but she controls herself. Since Yuji is not their real daughter now, she acts carefully like a guest in front of them. Her behavior surprises everyone because Shin is suddenly very calm and polite. So they happily welcome Yuji and arrange lunch for her. They have no idea that the girl they think is their daughter is actually Yuji, and the guest is their adopted daughter Shin. Even while eating, both behave differently. Shin eats normally, while Yuji eats less and carefully. Yuji's mother thinks Yuji is not well and tries to check her health. Shin feels bad because she cannot even receive real parental love. Now both doctors finally get posting in the same city, meaning they will stay at home more often. Shin feels very sad leaving the house, while Yuji also feels guilty for slowly taking her place. Meanwhile, Jian also realizes that the soul swap book must have been hidden by Yuji, since only she and Shin were at home, but he still does not understand why she would do that. At night, Shin sends a message to Yuji and says she does not want to return to her original body anymore. She feels Yuji's parents deserve a calm and good daughter like Yuji, not a troublemaker like her. Yuji does not respond to this directly, but the next day, Yuji tells Shin that there is not much time left for the exam, so instead of wasting energy on soul swap problems, they should focus on studying each other's subjects properly and at least try to get decent marks. She says it is just one exam. After 1 month, when the shooting star falls again, they will get another chance to return to their real body. They were both studying, then suddenly Jian comes and finds it strange that Yuji is solving physics papers, even though she is an art student. Physics is supposed to be Shin's subject, but when they come back, Jian does not question them and quietly leave. At night, Jian starts searching online about soul swap theories. He is becoming more and more suspicious of Yuji and Shin's strange behavior. When Shin comes home, Jian asks her again if she still wants to take part in the physics competition, but she refuses and says she is busy with exam. This makes Jian even more suspicious because earlier she was fighting to join the competition and now she's suddenly lost interest. Meanwhile, Yuji and Shin are still stressed about exam. Even after teaching each other, they still do not understand properly. On the other side, Shin is eating a lot of cold food to bring her periods early. Yao keeps stopping her, but Shin does not listen. Her plan does not work, but instead her stomach gets upset, and she keeps going to the washroom during class. Meanwhile, Yuji fails to steal the exam paper, but Shin comes up with a new idea. She suggests that they temporarily change their major. Yuji will take science and Shin will take arts for now. After the souls return, they will switch back and tell their families it was just a trial choice. At home, Yuji's father supports the idea of changing majors, but he says the final decision will be her mother's. When Shin brings up the topic, Yuji's mother gets very angry. She thinks Yuji is trying to escape studies and wants her to become successful in science. Meanwhile, Yuji asks Jian for permission to change her major to arts. This makes Jian even more suspicious. He knows his sister loves physics and science deeply, so why is she suddenly changing? To test her, Jian asks Yuji questions about past memory, like what gift he got on his 6th birthday, or what their father gave last year. Yuji cannot answer any of them. At that moment, Jian becomes fully sure that this girl is not his sister Shin. He directly asks her who she really is. Yuji finally tells him the truth about the soul swap. She explains everything about the shooting star and how their souls changed bodies. She also says they did not tell anyone because they did not want to cause trouble for their families and were waiting for the next shooting star to switch back. Jian is shocked after hearing everything, but he still wants to help them. Yuji apologizes for hiding the truth. Next day, Jian behaves differently. He makes breakfast for Yuji, but does not sit with her. He walks with her to school, but does not use his bicycle, which makes Yuji feel a little sad. He feels uncomfortable seeing a stranger in his sister's body. But when he notices Yuji becoming sad, he asks her to sit on the bicycle and takes her to school. This small action makes Yuji happy again, because being close to Jian was always her dream. At school, Jian requests Yuji not to tell Shin that he already knows the truth about their soul swap. Shin goes to home and again tried to convince Yuji's parents. Yuji's mother gives her a paper and says if she would solve this, then I'll give you the permission. Yuji's mother surprisingly agreed to the major change after seeing her result. She allowed her to move into the science department. Next morning, Shin happily joined science class. Hang felt a little happy because Yuji's body was now sitting near him. After a few days, arts competition results were announced. Yuji surprisingly topped history. Everyone was shocked because she had just joined art. At the same time, teacher Deng gave Jian a research file about soul swapping, making him suspicious. After some days, the exam results are announced. Shin and Yuji both score top positions in their respective departments. Everyone is shocked because no one expected two new students to perform so well. Shin decides to finally tell Hang the truth about the soul swap. At first, Hang thinks they are joking. But when he carefully remembers all the strange events, he realizes they are telling the truth. At the same time, teachers assign Shin and Yuji to perform the Romeo and Juliet play. Due to circumstances, Shin acts in Yuji's body and Yuji helps her. During rehearsals, things do not go well. Lines are forgotten, acting is poor, and the teacher becomes angry, questioning how the top student is performing so badly. Meanwhile, Ming also takes admission in the same department. He continues to behave like Yuji's childhood friend. He joins the science class just to stay close to her and constantly tries to get her attention. Hang becomes very protective of Shin and does not allow Ming to get close easily. Meanwhile, Shin continues to struggle in the Romeo and Juliet rehearsals. She keeps forgetting her dialogues, and the teacher becomes very angry at her poor performance. The teacher even asks if someone else wants to replace Juliet. Many students raise their hands because they want the role. However, the teacher still keeps Shin in the role and tells her she must improve quickly. Shin finally realizes she needs Yuji's help, but Yuji is still upset with her because of their earlier argument. Shin struggles to apologize because of her pride, but in the end, she gathers courage and asks for help. Yuji agrees and supports her by printing all Juliet's dialogues and helping her practice step by step. Yuji also informs Jian about Shin's difficulties so he can help during rehearsal. The next day, Yuji gives Shin a recorded audio of Juliet's lines on a recorder so she can listen and memorize them easily. Shin feels emotional after seeing how much effort Yuji is putting into helping her. She realizes Yuji is not angry anymore and deeply cares about her. Meanwhile, during Romeo and Juliet rehearsals, Jian arrives to help Shin practice. Shin is not happy at first and behaves rudely because she does not like Romeo's character. Jian tells her to stay calm and practice properly, but Shin says she hates Romeo's attitude and cannot act with emotions she does not feel. Jian feels hurt because Shin's cold behavior reminds him of how Yuji used to act toward him. Shin later explains that Hang is busy with dance practice, so she asked Jian to help her rehearse instead. Yuji also tells Shin that she should cooperate. Eventually, Shin agrees and starts practicing properly with Jian. During rehearsal, Yuji asks them to hold hands as required by the play. Shin feels extremely awkward holding Jian's hand because he is her brother, but Jian tells her to stay natural and focus on acting. While practicing, Shin suddenly becomes distracted. Holding Jian's hand and acting out emotional lines makes her heart beat faster, and she feels confused about her emotions. She quickly leaves. After school, Yuji's father arrives to pick her up. Shin introduces Yuji to him while acting like everything is normal. Yuji becomes emotional after seeing her father, as she misses her real family deeply. Jian understands her feelings and promises to take her out for dinner, so she does not feel sad. Meanwhile, auditions for the school program host take place. Teachers select Yuji because of her excellent performance. In the school's anniversary program, all students' parents had come to watch the performances. Yuji, in Shin's body, confidently started the program as the host. Everyone was impressed by her smooth and professional hosting. After that, the Romeo and Juliet play began. Shin performed beautifully at first, but suddenly, in the middle of the play, she forgot her line. Just then, Jian, who was standing near the stage, quietly signaled her with hand gestures. Shin noticed his signal and quickly remembered her next line. She continued the performance without ruining the scene. Jian's help saved her from embarrassment. Later, Jian takes Shin to a beautiful location where there is a wishing tree. People tie red cloth there and make wishes. She feels confused about why Jian is caring so much about her. She starts thinking that maybe Jian likes Yuji. She even tells him not to get too close because they are still students and it might create misunderstanding. exciting. But she does not know that Jian already knows about the soul swap and is genuinely worried about Shin, who is inside Yuji's body. At night, Shin tries to cook food for everyone, but Jian keeps helping her and paying attention to small details. Hang also helped, which makes Ming feel irritated and jealous because he believes Yuji belongs to him emotionally as his childhood love. During dinner, Shin and Ming talk about Jian and Hang trying to bring people closer. Both Shin and Ming have different misunderstandings about the situation, so they think others are playing matchmaking game. At the same time, Hang tells Shin that she should pay more attention to Jian instead of interfering in other relationships. Hang also points out that Jian is always close to Yuji and cares for her deeply. He asks Shin if she has ever thought about why Jian is doing all this. Maybe Jian actually likes Yuji. This makes Shin feel confused and slightly uncomfortable for reasons she cannot explain. Meanwhile, Jian is standing outside looking at the moonlight. Yuji comes to meet him, and for a moment Jian imagines her as Shin because of the soul swap situation. One night, Shin and Yuji were talking on messages. They said after swapping their souls, everything will be normal. If the swap does not happen, it will hurt Yuji and Shin, but it will also hurt Jian because he might lose his sister forever. Later, Shin met Yuji and suggested joining a natural science interest group. There they could learn more about meteors and soul exchange. Maybe it could help them understand their situation better. While they were talking, Yao secretly followed Yuji and Shin and heard everything. She was shocked because she noticed they were calling each other by different names. Since Yao already suspected something was wrong, they decided to tell her the truth. Yuji and Shin explained the soul swap completely. She finally understood why she felt two different personalities in Yuji's body and why her friendship felt confusing. She was still a little angry that they hid such a big secret, but they explained they were scared. If scientists or the government found out, they might be used in experiments. Yao understood and promised not to tell anyone. Shin was the happiest because now Yao knew the truth and she had found her real best friend again. At night, Shin and Yuji talked about what they would miss after returning to their body. Shin said she would miss Yuji's mom's cooking. Yuji said she would miss Jian the most. Hearing this, Shin suddenly got shocked and cut the call. She started thinking why Yuji likes Jian so much. Does she love him? And does Jian also love her? Meanwhile, Yuji thought the call got disconnected because of network issue. The next day, Yuji asked Shin why she cut the call. Shin made an excuse that her mom entered the room. Then Yuji continued their last conversation and confessed that she likes Jian. She said she has liked him since the first day she joined high school and saw him in student council. Shin was shocked and started saying bad things about Jian, but Yuji defended him. She said Jian is kind, handsome, and intelligent. Yuji asked Shin to help her get closer to Jian after the soul swap. This made Shin very uncomfortable and confused. She left from there upset. She started thinking about Hang's words too, that maybe Jian also likes Yuji. While walking, Shin bumped into Hang and started hitting him out of frustration. Hang thought she might be on her period and brought hot water and pads for her. This made Shin even more angry and she hit him again. Meanwhile, Yao and Yuji had become close friends again. They were sharing everything like before. Yuji had already decided that after graduation she would confess her feelings to Jian. That night, Shin started showing more love and care toward Yuji's parents. She knew after the soul swap, she might never get this kind of family love again. Yuji also felt happy because she got closer to Jian during these days. The soul swap gave her a chance to be near him and talk to him freely. Now only a few days were left before everything changed again. Yuji wrote a letter for Jian. In the letter, she wrote about her feelings and how much she liked him. She hoped one day he would like her too. She secretly placed the letter inside Jian's room between his books and also kept a handmade scarf for him as a gift. But Jian saw her there. He didn't read the letter yet, but he found the scarf and felt happy. He also gave Yuji a gift, a pen. Yuji liked it a lot and asked him if they would still be friends after the soul swap. Jian said yes, without any problem, because he already considered her a close friend. Meanwhile, Shin was still living in Yuji's room and noticed all her things. She realized she was using Yuji's identity and family love, and she enjoyed this temporary happiness. On the expected day of the meteor shower, everyone waited for the soul swap, but nothing happened. Shin, Yuji, and Jian were all disappointed. Their bodies stayed the same. Yuji started thinking maybe the magnetic field theory was wrong or too weak. Now they would have to wait for another meteor event. Life slowly went back to normal routine. At school, Jian told teacher Deng about the soul swap. Deng agreed to help them and said he would keep it secret. He also tried to study the situation scientifically to make sure it was not dangerous. After school, Shin went home and found Yuji's mother looking very weak and sick. She was resting and did not respond properly. Shin felt worried and called her, but she did not wake up. She says she is okay. Shin doesn't pay much attention and went to her room. One night, Jian told Shin to finish dinner quickly and rest because she looked exhausted. Right after dinner, Jian's Aunt Anna suddenly arrived. Everyone thought she would insult Shin again, but this time she came for another reason. She had already arranged opportunities for Jian to study abroad at a famous university. According to her, Jian was talented enough to succeed anywhere, especially in physics, and studying overseas would help his future career a lot. Even so, Shin looked clearly upset while hearing about Jian possibly moving far away from her. Jian was not ready to take a decision in this situation. At the same time, Shin was doing homework in Yuji's room when she suddenly heard a loud crashing sound outside. She rushed out and found Yuji's mother collapsed on the floor. Shin panicked and quickly held her. Yuji's mother was suffering from terrible chest pain, so she told Shin to call emergency services immediately because it might be a heart problem. Soon an ambulance arrived, and Shin went to the hospital with her. Shockingly, the doctor treating Yuji's mother was actually Shin's real mother, Jia. Seeing her own mother standing in front of her made Shin emotional. According to the doctors, Yuji's mother had arrhythmia, but more tests were still needed to see how serious the condition was and whether surgery would be necessary. The next morning at school, the moment Yuji heard about her mother, she burst into tears. She desperately wanted to run straight to the hospital, but Shin stopped her and carefully explained that she could not emotionally lose control in front of her mother. If her parents discovered the soul swap, her mother's health could become even worse. That was the reason Shin had hidden the news the previous night. Although Yuji understood her explanation, she still begged Shin to take her to the hospital somehow. Even if she could only meet her mother as Shin's friend, she still wanted to see her once. Shin finally agreed. There, Yuji could only meet her parents as Shin's best friend. During the discussion, Dr. Jia asked whether they wanted surgery or treatment through medicine alone. Both Yuji and Shin hoped medicine would be enough. However, Yuji's mother chose surgery because she wanted to recover quickly and continue taking care of the family. Since Yuji's father needed to stay at the hospital with his wife, everyone started wondering how Yuji would manage alone at home. At that moment, Jian suggested that Yuji, who was actually Shin, should stay at his house for a while. Yuji agreed immediately, and Jia had no problem with the idea either. The moment she entered the house, Shin became excited like her old self again. She rushed to the kitchen, grabbed her favorite snacks and drinks from the fridge, turned on the TV, and started watching movies while asking Jian random questions like before the soul swap. Surprisingly, Jian did not get annoyed at all. In fact, he had missed Shin's noisy behavior and playful arguments for a long time. When Shin briefly left the room, Yuji told Jian not to take Shin's words too seriously. She explained that Shin often spoke without thinking, but never had bad intentions toward anyone. Yuji also admitted that Shin was simply excited to be back in her own home again. The next morning, Jian, Shin, and Yuji headed to school together. On the way, they met Hang, who joined them. While walking together, Shin and Hang kept joking and laughing around. Seeing them so close made Jian secretly jealous a little. Later at school, Jian met teacher Deng, who handed him a file filled with research about soul swapping. Deng had contacted several astrophysics experts and collected opinions that might help Shin and Yuji return to their original bodies. Meanwhile, Shin was telling Hang to stay close to Yuji whenever Jian was around. In Jian's eyes, Hang was Shin's best friend, so if Hang stayed too close to Yuji, Jian might become suspicious. But Hang believed it was finally time to tell Jian the truth about the soul swap. After hearing Hang's words, Shin finally decided that she should tell Jian the truth about the soul swap. She did not know that Jian already knew everything. After school, Jian, Shin, and Yuji went to the hospital together. At the hospital, Yuji's mother was thanking Yuji, who was actually Shin, for staying at their house and helping them. Later, while going to call Jian from his parents' office, the girls accidentally overheard a conversation. That was when Shin learned for the first time that Jian's family wanted him to study abroad. Jian, however, was worried about leaving Shin behind. He had always stayed close to protect her. A little later, the group prepared to leave the hospital. Yuji's father walked everyone outside because they all had school the next day. Afterward, Jian, Yuji, Ming, and Heng all went back to Jian's house together. They had planned to stay there for a while, but everything suddenly became awkward when Jian learned that Shin had told Heng about the soul-swapping secret long before telling him. Feeling jealous and offended, Jian angrily threw Heng out of the house. Shin also stopped thinking about telling Jian the truth about the soul swap. Later, while going to teacher Deng's office, Shin accidentally overheard Jian talking with him inside the room. Deng wanted Jian to work as his assistant, but Jian politely refused because he had already applied for a volunteer position at the local planetarium. When Jian came outside, she directly asked him about it. She reminded him that he once promised to attend Beijing University together with his sister Shin. Jian calmly explained that the best universities for astronomy were overseas, so studying abroad would help him achieve his dream. It was obvious that she hated the idea of Jian leaving. After coming home, Shin immediately went to her room without talking to Jian. Jian was busy outside and barely noticed her move. Back at Jian's house, Yuji tried calming Shin down. While the girls were talking, they suddenly overheard Aunt Anna arguing with Jian outside. Jian actually did not want to study abroad at all. After discovering this, Shin secretly became extremely happy, although she tried her best not to show it. Jian then tells her the truth. He already knows about the soul swap because of their subject changes. However, he did not tell anyone because Yuji had once asked him to keep it secret. He also did not want to destroy the friendship between them. Shin becomes shocked and angry. She asks Jian why he kept pretending not to know anything. Jian explains, but Shin refuses to listen. She walks away in anger. Heng comes to comfort her, but before he can say anything, Yuji suddenly arrives crying. She tells them that her mother has gone into a coma after surgery and she needs to go to the hospital immediately. Shin quickly takes Yuji to the hospital. Meanwhile at home, Shin ignores Jian and goes to her room. Jian is busy comforting Yuji, who is crying about her mother in hospital. Yuji is very upset seeing her mother in pain. Jian tries to comfort her and Yuji hugs him. Shin sees this and feels uncomfortable but goes away silently. In the next scene, Shin is shown being extremely angry with Jian lately, so much that she is not even coming near him. Because of this, Jian is feeling very upset. Yuji went to the hospital. Seeing her mother getting better makes Yuji a little happy. Next day at school, Jian calls Shin to have lunch with him, but she does not go. Meanwhile, an announcement starts on the school speaker. It is Jian making the announcement, stopping everyone from gossiping about Shin's adoption. He also warns that whoever spread this on the school's social media page must delete the post, or he will take action and expose them in front of everyone. After this, Jian leaves, and Shin suddenly runs after him crying. She takes him to the terrace to talk alone. Shin is angry at him because he might get suspended and even lose recommendation for a good college. But Jian says this was his only chance because she was ignoring him. He also says he can sacrifice anything for Shin's happiness. In the next scene, their misunderstanding gets cleared, and Jian becomes a little closer to Shin. But Shin quickly makes an excuse and leaves. Later, at the stadium, Jian meets Yuji and Ming. They are very impressed by how Jian stood up for Shin. Later, Yuji's father decides to take everyone out for dinner, so he brings them to a restaurant as a family outing. At the restaurant, a free fruit salad is being served. Suddenly, both Shin and Jian refuse pineapple at the same exact time, which feels very strange and confusing to Yuji. She starts noticing something unusual between them. Later, Yuji and Jian talk about Shin. Yuji tells him to communicate more because there are misunderstandings between them. Jian says he is ready, but Shin avoids him. Just then, Shin arrives and scolds Jian for pretending not to know about the soul-swapping situation and treating her like a fool for many days. Yuji leaves them alone to talk. Shin then opens her heart and becomes emotional and cries. Jian hugs her and gives her childhood candy. Shin feels better. Jian tells her she is the most important person for him. Shin does not fully understand, but he is expressing his feeling. Meanwhile, Ming is still confused about his feeling. He keeps thinking why he is getting attracted to Shin even though he loves Yuji since childhood. He cannot understand his own emotions. One of his friends advises him to stay normal friends with both Yuji and Shin for now, so he can understand his feelings clearly later. Meanwhile, Jian and Ming were going alone for their game. On the way, Ming and Jian are suddenly stopped by some of Ming's old rivals. The rivals keep provoking them again and again, and finally a fight breaks out. Meanwhile, Yuji, Shin, and Yuji's mother are spending time in the hospital. But after some time, They receive news that Ming and Jian have been injured in a fight. Both boys are also brought to the same hospital for treatment. During this situation, Ming tells Jian that he should focus on his own life. He says Jian cannot always take care of Shin forever. One day Shin will get married, and Jian cannot stay her protector for his whole life. Later, Shin takes Jian to the doctor, and Ming is left alone with Yuji. Taking this moment, Ming finally confesses his feelings to Yuji. But Yuji is already in love with Jian. She also feels confused because Ming's feelings might be for Shin's body, not her real self. So politely, she rejects Ming's proposal. Next day, another big problem starts. The fight video of Ming and Jian gets uploaded on social media by a student. Now rumors start spreading that both boys fought for Yuji, which is completely false. The next day, Ming comes to school and is called to the principal's office, where Jian is already present. The injured gang boys are in worse condition, and their families now want to file a police case against the school. Hearing this, Ming becomes shocked. He decides to take full blame on himself to save Jian's career. His plan actually worked. The principal now sees Ming as the main troublemaker and decides to expel him from school, while Jian is saved. Soon, Ming prepares to leave the country with his mother. The next day, everyone meets at a restaurant. One by one, they start talking about their future dreams. Yuji says she wants to become a journalist in the future and go to Africa to make documentaries about different tribes. Hearing this, Ming says he will also visit Africa one day, indirectly hinting that he wants to meet Yuji there. Yao says she wants to become a famous idol. Jian says he wants to become an astronomer. Heng says he just wants to live a peaceful life, which makes everyone laugh. Later at night, Jian searches online about soul swapping and asks a president-like expert who once experienced it. He finds out that the expert is willing to help them. He explains to Yuji and Shin that if their next soul swap does not happen tomorrow evening, they will need this help. Because of this, Shin plans a picnic at the riverside with Heng so they can all stay together. While Shin is going to tell Yuji and Shin about the picnic, she meets Jian in the corridor. Jian agrees to come, but then quietly pulls her hand and asks her to meet him alone at night. At the riverside, Jian meets Shin and shows her stars using an advanced binocular he borrowed from the planetarium. He explains that even if the soul swap fails, Shin will always be the most important person for him, no matter whose body she is in. During this moment, they come closer emotionally. Later, when they return home, they keep messaging each other. Next day, Shin also gets ready and reaches the bus stop. Soon, Heng, Jian, Yuji, Shin, and others all gather there and go to the picnic location. Later, the time for soul swapping approaches. Yuji and Shin look at the sky, hoping the soul swap will finally happen. But even after a long wait, nothing happened. They are still stuck in each other's bodies. Both girls start losing hope, but Jian tells them that he will definitely find a way to fix this, even if he has to meet the president who once experienced soul swapping. Meanwhile, Yuji's parents are getting ready to pick up Shin. Yuji's father goes into Yuji's room to take her jacket. There, he accidentally finds a letter hidden in the almirah. After reading it, he becomes shocked. It seems related to the soul-swapping truth. During the picnic, he becomes more suspicious that something is wrong. After the picnic ends, he brings only Yuji and Shin back home, while others are not invited. When they reach home, Yuji's father suddenly calls out Yuji's name. Real Yuji responds, not Shin. At that moment, he realizes who is real and who is in the wrong body. Both girls try to hide the truth, but now it is useless. They are forced to tell him everything about the soul swap. Later, when they are alone in their room, they start discussing their situation again. Yuji's mother accidentally overhears their conversation outside the door. She gets extremely shocked and angry after learning the truth. She feels betrayed that no one told her earlier. Now the most important thing was to explain everything clearly to both families and decide what to do next without fighting or misunderstanding. So they all gathered at Shin's house and then also went to Jian's family. Slowly, carefully, they explained the truth. Yuji's soul is inside Shin's body. Shin's soul is inside Yuji's body. At first, Shin's parents could not believe it. Then Jian stepped forward and explained everything from the beginning in a calm voice. Since that day, they have been living each other's lives. He also said that even though 2 more meteor showers have already happened, nothing changed, so the problem is still not solved. Then Jian added something important. He told them that there is still hope. A person who experienced something similar in the past might know how to fix it. But even that can only work during the next meteor shower night. Later, Jian took Shin aside. He told her softly not to lose hope. He reminded her of their childhood promise, how they always supported each other no matter what. Jian said, Even if the body is different, I will never leave you. You are still important to me. Shin told her parents that she only wanted to stay at Yuji's house for a few days because of Yuji's mother's health. But just when Shin was about to leave, Jian suddenly woke up. He came outside quickly and in anger threw her bag away. He thought Shin was leaving them forever. He remembered their promise that they would never leave each other. Jian got very angry and said hurtful things. He thought Shin was choosing another family just because they were richer. He even said that maybe money and comfort mattered more to her than their bond. Shin was deeply hurt. She could not believe Jian would say such thing. Jian also realized his mistake, but it was too late. Shin started crying and ran out of the house. Jian felt very guilty. He didn't know how to properly apologize. Jian, Shin and Yuji, all three of them remembered their journey together. The struggles, the care, and the bond they shared. They held each other's hands, and in that emotional moment, everything suddenly changed. Jian opened his eyes in his room. Yuji and Shin also woke up in their own room. They realized it was September 6th, the day of the meteor shower. Everything they experienced, the soul swap, the fights, the emotions, was just a dream. Jian also checked Shin's room to confirm reality. Shin got annoyed and told him to leave, just like before. Jian smiled because he realized she was back to her real self. All three of them slowly smiled, remembering the dream. After school, Yuji met Ming again. Ming had come to take admission in the school. Deep inside, Ming already liked Yuji, but earlier he got confused and thought he liked Shin because of the dream confusion. After a few days, Jian's entrance exam was coming soon, and the next day was his last day at school. Before leaving, Yuji gives Jian a letter and confessed her feeling. He said he has a childhood promise with Shin, and he wants to keep that promise forever. From childhood, they shared candy and promised never to leave each other. Yuji has an emotional moment when she reads Jian's letter. After this, Shin comes in and starts teasing Jian in her usual playful way, which lightens the mood again. The story then takes a big leap of 10 years into the future. All of them are now adults and have built successful lives. Yuji has become a famous journalist and Ming is with her as a successful businessman. Jian has pursued astronomy and is now working in his field as an astronomer. Shin has become a physicist and remains closely connected to Jian, and maybe in future they'll become couple because they liked each other. Everyone was happy